Let me ask you a question. What if the biggest thing holding you back is not a lack of talent, not a lack of opportunity, not a lack of money, not even a lack of knowledge? What if the real problem is something much simpler? You have not yet learned how to make yourself do what needs to be done. Think about that. You already know some of the things you should be doing. You know you should wake up earlier. You know you should take better care of yourself. You know you should save more money. You know you should learn more. You know you should stop wasting so much time. You know there are conversations you need to have, decisions you need to make, promises you need to keep. So why don't you do them? That is the question. Because knowing is not enough. Wanting is not enough. Planning is not enough. And motivation? Motivation comes and goes. There will be mornings when you feel inspired, and there will be mornings when you don't. There will be days when everything seems possible, and there will be days when getting started feels like work. The difference between the 2 days is not your potential. The difference is discipline. And here is what nobody teaches you clearly enough. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. It is the ability to decide what matters and then act on that decision, even when your feelings disagree. It is getting up when you said you would. It is doing the work when nobody is watching. It is keeping a promise that you made only to yourself. It is saying no to something enjoyable today because you want something greater tomorrow. And those little decisions may not look important, but they are. Because your life is being built quietly, one choice at a time, one morning at a time, one habit at a time, one decision at a time. You don't wake up one day and suddenly have a successful life. You build it. And you don't destroy your future in one dramatic moment either. You usually give pieces of it away. 5 minutes here, an hour there. One excuse today, another excuse tomorrow. Until months become years. And one day you look around and wonder, how did I get here? But there is good news. If small choices can take your life in the wrong direction, small choices can also take it in the right direction. You do not have to fix everything today. You have to start controlling something today. Your morning, your attention, your habits, your time, your word, your response to difficulty. Because once you learn to govern yourself, something changes. You stop waiting for the perfect mood. You stop waiting for someone to rescue you. You stop waiting for tomorrow. You begin to understand that your future is not somewhere you are going. It is something you are creating. And the person who learns to control his daily actions eventually gains control over the direction of his life. So in this video, we're going to uncover the discipline that most people never learn. The discipline of doing it anyway. The discipline of keeping promises to yourself. The discipline of saying no. The discipline of delayed gratification. The discipline of learning when nobody is watching. And most importantly, the discipline of becoming the person capable of living the life you say you want. So don't just listen to this as another motivational video. Listen with a notebook. Listen with honesty. Because somewhere in these ideas, you may discover a habit that has been quietly holding you back. And if you are willing to change that one habit, you may discover something even more powerful. You may discover that you were never as far away from change as you thought. You simply needed to become more disciplined about the things that matter. Let's begin. The discipline of doing it anyway. There is a lesson in life that most people learn far too late. You cannot build a remarkable life by doing only what you feel like doing. Some days you will feel motivated. Some days you won't. Some mornings you will wake up full of energy and confidence. Other mornings, you will want to stay in bed and forget the whole thing. And that is where discipline enters the picture. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when your feelings are asking you to do something else. Think about it. You don't always feel like working. You don't always feel like exercising. You don't always feel like studying. You don't always feel like saving money. You don't always feel like having the difficult conversation. But the results you want are waiting on the other side of those actions. If you only act when you feel motivated, your progress will always be controlled by your mood, and your mood is a poor manager of your future. Feelings are valuable, but feelings are not always wise. You can feel tired and still take one step forward. You can feel afraid and still make the phone call. You can feel uncertain and still begin. You can feel uncomfortable and still do the work. That is the discipline of doing it anyway. Now don't misunderstand me. This doesn't mean you must be perfect. It doesn't mean you never rest. It doesn't mean you ignore genuine problems. It means you stop using temporary feelings as permanent excuses. There will always be a reason to postpone. Tomorrow will always sound attractive. I'll start next week. I'll do it when things calm down. I'll begin when I feel ready. But here's the problem. You may never feel ready, so begin anyway. The person who changes their life is not necessarily the person with the most motivation. It is often the person who has learned to act despite the absence of motivation. And every time you do what you said you would do, something important happens. You trust yourself a little more. You become stronger. You become more dependable. You prove to yourself that your decisions are stronger than your excuses. Start with something small. Choose one task today that you have been avoiding. Don't negotiate with yourself for an hour. Don't wait for inspiration. Don't make another plan. Do it. Finish it. Then notice how you feel afterward. That feeling is not just satisfaction. It is evidence. Evidence that you are capable of directing yourself. And once you learn to do the important things anyway, you discover a powerful truth. You don't have to control everything in life. You only have to learn to control your next decision. So when the alarm rings, get up. When the work needs to be done, begin. When the opportunity requires courage, step forward. When the right choice is difficult, choose it anyway. Because your future will not be built by what you intended to do. It will be built by what you actually did. And sometimes the most powerful words you can say to yourself are very simple. I don't feel like it, but I'm going to do it anyway. But the discipline of keeping promises to yourself. Let me tell you something important. One of the most valuable relationships you will ever have is the relationship you have with yourself. And that relationship is built on trust. Think about it. When you give someone your word, you expect them to keep it. But what happens when you keep making promises to yourself and keep breaking them? I'll start tomorrow. I'll wake up early. I'll finish the book. I'll save the money. I'll make the call. You say it. You mean it. And then you don't do it. Do that often enough, and something begins to change. You stop believing yourself. That is expensive, because when you don't trust yourself, even a good plan becomes difficult to execute. You need something different. You need to become a person whose word means something, especially to yourself. Now, don't begin with 100 promises. That's another mistake. People get excited, make 10 commitments, and abandon all 10 within a week. Start smaller. Make one promise that matters. Maybe you promise yourself that you will read for 30 minutes every morning. Maybe you will exercise for 20 minutes. Maybe you will spend 1 hour developing a valuable skill. Whatever you choose, make it specific, then keep it. Not because somebody is watching, not because somebody will praise you. Keep it because you gave your word. That is where self-respect begins. You see, every time you keep a promise to yourself, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. And every time you break one, without a good reason, you teach yourself that your own decisions can be ignored. So be careful what you promise. But once you promise, take it seriously. There will be days when it is easy. Those days don't tell you much. The real test comes when you're tired, when you're busy, when nobody would know if you quit. That is when character is being built. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You need a series of small victories. Keep one promise today. Keep another tomorrow. Then keep another the day after that. Eventually, something changes. You begin to say, if I decide to do something, I do it. That belief is powerful. It changes how you walk into a difficult situation. It changes how you approach a goal. It changes how you see yourself. So today, make one promise, not 10. One. Make it meaningful. Make it achievable, and then keep it. Because your confidence is not built by telling yourself that you are capable. It is built by giving yourself evidence. Evidence that you can be trusted. Evidence that you can follow through. Evidence that your word has weight. And remember this, the strongest promise you can keep is the one nobody else knows you made. Keep your word to yourself. Do it consistently. And little by little, you will become the kind of person who no longer needs to chase confidence. You will have earned it. The discipline of saying no. Let me give you a simple idea that can change the direction of your life. Every time you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else. You say yes to another hour of scrolling, and you may be saying no to an hour of learning. You say yes to unnecessary spending, and you may be saying no to financial freedom. You say yes to every invitation, every distraction, every request, and eventually you may be saying no to your own priorities. That is why learning to say no is not a small skill. It is a major discipline. Most people think discipline is about doing more. Sometimes discipline is about doing less. Less noise, less distraction, less unnecessary entertainment, less explaining, less trying to please everyone. You don't have unlimited time. You don't have unlimited energy. You don't have unlimited attention. So you must decide where those resources belong. Now, saying no can feel uncomfortable. You may worry that someone will be disappointed. You may worry that you will miss an opportunity. You may worry about what people think. But consider the alternative. If you keep saying yes to everyone else who is saying yes to your future, your goals require time. Your family requires attention. Your growth requires concentration. Your work requires energy. And all of those things compete for the same 24 hours. So don't ask only, can I do this? Ask a better question. Should I do this? Those are very different questions. You may be able to do something and still decide it isn't worth the cost. You may have time for something and still choose to protect that time. You may be invited somewhere and still say, "Thank you, but I can't." That's not selfishness. That's clarity. And remember, you don't have to make every no dramatic. You don't need a long explanation. Sometimes a simple, respectful no is enough. Because every time you protect what matters, you strengthen your ability to pursue it. Look at your day. Where does your time disappear? What repeatedly interrupts your focus? What activity gives you a few minutes of pleasure, but costs you hours of progress? What commitment did you accept that you should have declined? Be honest, then make a change. Say no to one unnecessary thing today, not forever, just today. Use that recovered time for something that matters. Read, work, learn, exercise, build, think, rest intentionally. The goal is not to have an empty calendar. The goal is to have a meaningful one. Your life becomes more valuable when you stop giving your best resources to things that don't deserve them. So learn to say no. Say it politely, say it confidently, and say it without guilt when necessary. Because sometimes the most important decision you can make is not what you are going to do. It is what you are finally going to stop doing. Protect your time, protect your attention, protect your future. Learn to say no to what doesn't matter, so you can say yes to what does. The discipline of saying no. There is a word that is very small, but it can protect an entire future. That word is no. Most people want to learn how to say yes. Yes to opportunities. Yes to invitations. Yes to new experiences. Yes to more money. But very few people learn the power of saying no. And without that discipline, your life can become crowded with things that don't really matter. Think about your day. You have 24 hours, not 26, not 30, 24. And once an hour is gone, you don't get to buy it back. So every time you say yes to something, you are spending a portion of your life on it. That's why you must become careful about what receives your time. Maybe you say yes to another hour of social media. Maybe yes to another unnecessary argument. Maybe yes to spending money you should have saved. Maybe yes to people who constantly pull you away from your priorities. And then you wonder why you don't have enough time for your goals. The problem may not be that you need more time. The problem may be that you need fewer distractions. Now, saying no is not always comfortable. People may misunderstand you. They may think you've changed. They may ask why you aren't joining them. They may not understand why you are protecting your time. Let them misunderstand. You don't need everyone's approval to build a better life. If you have a goal, that goal requires attention. If you want to become stronger, something else must become less important. If you want financial freedom, some spending must stop. If you want knowledge, some entertainment must decrease. If you want peace, some arguments must be left behind. You cannot keep everything and still expect your life to change. Something has to go. So before you say yes, pause. Ask yourself, does this matter? Does this move me forward? What will this cost me? And perhaps the most important question, if I say yes to this, what am I saying no to? Because that question changes everything. You may discover that you have been saying yes to distractions while saying no to your own future. Today, look at your life honestly. Find one thing that is consuming your time without creating value. Then practice the discipline of saying no, not angrily, not arrogantly, simply and respectfully. No, thank you. I can't do that today. That isn't a priority for me right now. That's enough. You are not required to explain every decision that protects your future. Remember, discipline is not only the ability to work hard. It is also the ability to protect the things that matter. Your time matters. Your attention matters. Your energy matters. Your future matters. So don't become a person who is available for everything and committed to nothing. Become selective. Become intentional. Say no to what weakens you. Say no to what distracts you. Say no to what steals your best hours. Because every powerful yes in your future will require a few courageous no's today. You don't need more time. You need better choices about where your time goes. The discipline of delayed gratification. Let me give you a question. Would you rather have a small reward today or a much greater reward tomorrow? That sounds simple, but much of life is built around that choice. The challenge is that today is real. Tomorrow is only an idea. Today, you can see the pleasure. You can feel it. You can enjoy it. Tomorrow's reward requires something different. It requires faith. It requires patience. And most importantly, it requires discipline. This is the discipline of delayed gratification. It is the ability to say, I could have this now, but I want something better later. Think about money. You earn some money. You could spend all of it. Or you could spend some, save some, invest some, and build something for the future. Think about education. You could spend the evening watching entertainment. Or you could spend an hour learning a skill that may improve your opportunities for years. Think about your health. You could choose comfort today. Or you could make a difficult choice today that gives you more strength tomorrow. The difficult part is that the reward for discipline is often invisible at first. You study for one night. Nothing dramatic happens. You save a little money. Your life doesn't suddenly change. You exercise once. You don't wake up transformed. So people quit. They don't understand the power of accumulation. A small discipline repeated long enough becomes a significant result. The tree does not look different every morning, but beneath the surface, something is happening. Growth is taking place. Your life works the same way. Every time you choose the future over the moment, you are strengthening a powerful ability. You are teaching yourself that you don't have to obey every desire. You can want something and still wait. You can be tempted and still choose. You can enjoy today without sacrificing tomorrow. That is maturity. Now, delayed gratification doesn't mean you should never enjoy life. Enjoyment is part of life. Rest is important. Celebration is important. The lesson is balance. Don't sacrifice your future for every temporary pleasure. Before making a tempting decision, ask yourself 3 questions. What does this give me today? What could it cost me tomorrow? Which do I want more? Those questions can save you years of regret. So practice today. Delay one unnecessary purchase. Turn off the entertainment and spend 30 minutes learning. Choose the healthier option. Finish your important task before rewarding yourself. It may seem small, but you're building something bigger than the result of that one decision. You're building self-control. And self-control gives you options. Because the person who can control today's impulses can create tomorrow's opportunities. Remember, you don't have to give up everything you want. You simply have to learn what is worth waiting for. The future belongs, in part, to those who can sacrifice a little comfort today for something much greater tomorrow. So when temptation says, take it now, pause. Look ahead and ask yourself, what would my future self thank me for choosing today? Then make that choice. Because sometimes the greatest reward is not what you receive immediately. It is the life you become capable of building because you were willing to wait. The discipline of finishing what you start. Let me give you an idea that can change the way you approach your goals. Starting is easy. Finishing is rare. Most people love the beginning, the new book, the new business idea, the new workout plan, the new course, the new goal. In the beginning, everything feels exciting. You imagine the possibilities. You make plans. You feel motivated. But then something happens. The excitement fades. The work becomes difficult. Progress becomes slow. And suddenly, the new thing doesn't feel so new anymore. That is the moment when discipline becomes important. Because anyone can start when they are excited. The real question is, can you continue when the excitement is gone? There is a powerful difference between being interested in something and being committed to it. Interest says, this sounds good. Commitment says, I'm going to finish. And finishing matters. Every unfinished project takes a little space in your mind. The book you started, the course you never completed, the idea you never developed, the goal you abandoned. One unfinished commitment may not seem important, but collect enough of them and you begin carrying mental clutter everywhere you go. You start seeing yourself as someone who starts but doesn't finish. That identity can become dangerous, so change it. Don't start 10 new things, finish one. Choose something you have already begun. Ask yourself, does this still matter? If it matters, finish it. If it no longer matters, consciously let it go. But don't leave everything hanging in the middle. Make a decision, finish, eliminate, or deliberately abandon. There is strength in completion. When you finish something difficult, you gain more than the result. You gain evidence. Evidence that you can stay with a task. Evidence that you can overcome boredom. Evidence that you can work through frustration. Evidence that your commitment is stronger than your temporary feelings. And that evidence builds confidence. Not the confidence that comes from positive thinking. Real confidence, the kind that says, I have done difficult things before. I can do this too. Now, finishing doesn't mean rushing. It doesn't mean completing everything you have ever started. Sometimes wisdom means changing direction. Sometimes a project should be abandoned. But make that decision consciously. Don't quit simply because the work became uncomfortable, because discomfort is often the price of growth. So today, look around your life. What have you started but not finished? Choose one thing. Make it your priority. Give it your attention. Remove the distractions. Set a deadline and finish it. Then notice what happens inside you. You will feel lighter. You will feel stronger. You will trust yourself a little more. And perhaps most importantly, you will begin to see yourself differently. You are no longer the person who always starts. You are becoming the person who follows through. Remember, beginnings create possibilities, but completion creates results. So start when you need to start. But when the excitement disappears, when the work gets difficult, when nobody is watching, stay with it. Keep going. Finish what matters. Because sometimes the distance between where you are and where you want to be is not another new beginning. It is simply the discipline to finish what you already started. The compound effect of daily discipline. Let me give you one final idea. The small things you do every day may not seem important today, but give them enough time and they can change everything. That is the compound effect. A single disciplined decision rarely transforms a life. One workout doesn't create a strong body. One book doesn't create a wise mind. One day of saving doesn't create financial security. One productive morning doesn't create a successful career. But repeat those actions day after day, month after month, year after year. Now you have something powerful. You have momentum, and momentum changes everything. Think about a person who reads just a few pages every day. It doesn't look impressive. Nobody is going to applaud. But after a year, that person has read thousands of pages. And thousands of pages can change the way a person thinks. The same principle works in the opposite direction. One wasted hour doesn't ruin your life. One unnecessary purchase doesn't destroy your finances. One lazy morning doesn't destroy your future. But repeated often enough, small mistakes become large consequences. That is why you should never underestimate your daily habits. They are not merely things you do. They are votes for the person you are becoming. Every morning, you are practicing something. Every evening, you are reinforcing something. The question is, what are you reinforcing? Are you reinforcing discipline or procrastination? Learning or distraction? Saving or unnecessary spending? Courage or avoidance? Your habits are always moving you somewhere. The problem is that the destination may be difficult to see. You plant a seed today. You don't see the tree tomorrow. But growth is still happening. Your discipline works the same way. You may not see immediate results. Keep going. This is where many people quit. They do the right thing for a few days. Nothing dramatic happens, so they assume it isn't working. But results often arrive after the period when most people have already given up. That is why consistency matters more than intensity. You don't need to change everything tomorrow. You need to make better choices consistently. Wake up when you said you would. Do the important work. Learn something. Take care of your body. Manage your money. Keep your promises. Then do it again and again. You are not trying to win one perfect day. You are building a pattern, and patterns become lives. So here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, choose a few disciplines that matter. Keep them simple. Keep them measurable. And keep them every day. Don't worry about being perfect. If you fail one day, don't turn one failure into a week of failure. Begin again the next day, because discipline is not never falling. Discipline is returning to the path. After 30 days, look back. You may not recognize a completely different life, but you may recognize a different person. More focused, more reliable, more confident, more capable. And that is the real reward. Because the greatest transformation isn't simply what discipline gives you. It is what discipline makes you capable of becoming. Remember, small choices become habits. Habits become character. Character shapes decisions, and decisions shape your life. So don't wait for a dramatic opportunity. Start with an ordinary day. Make one better choice, then another, then another. Because your future is not built in one giant moment. It is built quietly, daily, consistently, one disciplined decision at a time. And if you are willing to repeat the right things long enough, you may discover that the life you once hoped for was being built all along. You just had to keep going. Change your days, and you change your life. Let me leave you with one final thought. You don't need to change your entire life tonight. You need to change what you do tomorrow morning. Because your life is not lived in years. It is lived in days. And the quality of those days eventually becomes the quality of your life. We often imagine change as something dramatic. A new job, a new opportunity, a sudden breakthrough. But real change is usually much quieter. It begins when you decide to get up when you said you would. It begins when you keep a promise to yourself. It begins when you turn off the distraction and do the work. It begins when you say no to something that doesn't matter. It begins when you choose learning over excuses. It begins when you do the right thing, even when nobody is watching. One decision doesn't change everything, but one disciplined decision can change the direction of everything. And direction matters. If you are walking in the wrong direction, speed will not save you. You don't need to run faster. You need to turn around. So look at your life honestly, not with shame, with responsibility. Ask yourself, what needs to change? What habit needs to go? What promise needs to be kept? What distraction needs to be removed? What important thing have I been postponing? Don't make 100 promises tonight. Choose one habit, one decision, one action. Then do it. Tomorrow, do it again. And when tomorrow becomes difficult, do it anyway. Because discipline is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming dependable. Dependable to your goals, dependable to your values, dependable to the person you know you can become. There will be days when you succeed. There will be days when you struggle. There will be days when you lose your focus. That's okay. Don't let one bad day become a bad month. Return. Start again. Keep moving. Because every day gives you another opportunity to practice the person you want to become. And eventually, those practices become habits. Those habits become character. And that character begins to shape your future. So don't wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. Don't wait until you feel ready. You may never feel completely ready. Don't wait for someone else to believe in you. Start by believing enough to take the next step. Your future is not asking you to be extraordinary today. It is asking you to be consistent. One better morning, one better decision, one better habit, one more promise kept, one more distraction refused, one more day of doing what matters. Then repeat. That is how a life changes. Not all at once, but gradually, quietly. And then, one day, you look back and realize that the person you became was created by thousands of small decisions nobody else ever saw. So begin today. Protect your time. Train your mind. Keep your word. Choose your environment carefully. Learn. Finish what you start. Raise your standards. And practice discipline when nobody is watching. Because the life you want is not built somewhere in the distant future. It is being built in the ordinary moments you are living right now. Change your days, and you change your life. So change today, then change tomorrow, and keep going. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make right now. The discipline of learning when nobody is watching. There is a kind of work that rarely receives applause. Nobody sees you reading at 6 in the morning. Nobody celebrates the hour you spend learning a new skill. Nobody knows that you stayed home tonight because you decided to study instead of wasting another evening. But don't underestimate that work. Some of the most important improvements in your life will happen when nobody is watching. You see, most people want the results of learning. They want the knowledge. They want the confidence. They want the better career. They want the greater income. But they don't always want the quiet hours required to become the person capable of producing those results. That is where self-education becomes powerful. School may give you information. A teacher may give you direction. A mentor may give you wisdom. But eventually, you must become responsible for your own growth. You must learn how to learn. Read, listen, study, ask questions. Take notes, think, apply, then repeat. And don't make the mistake of collecting information without using it. You can read 100 books and remain unchanged if you never practice what they teach. Knowledge becomes valuable when it changes your decisions. Suppose you read about managing money. Good. Now make a better financial decision. Read about communication. Good. Now become a better listener. Read about discipline. Good. Now keep a promise you have been breaking. That is learning. Information enters the mind. Application changes the life. And here's something else. You don't need to become an expert in everything. You need to become valuable. Develop skills that solve problems. Learn to communicate clearly. Learn to think critically. Learn to manage your time. Learn to manage money. Learn how people behave. Learn from your mistakes. And learn from people who have already traveled the road you want to travel. You can learn from success, but you can also learn from failure. In fact, some failures can become expensive teachers if you are willing to study the lesson. So create a learning habit. Maybe 30 minutes a day. Read a few pages. Listen to something useful. Study a skill. Write down one idea. Then ask, how can I use this? 30 minutes may not sound like much, but 30 minutes every day becomes hundreds of hours over time, and those hours compound. Your vocabulary improves. Your thinking improves. Your decisions improve. Your opportunities improve. And eventually, your life begins to reflect the person you have been quietly becoming. So don't wait for someone to tell you what to study. Don't wait for a classroom. Don't wait for permission. Take responsibility for your education. Tonight, choose one subject that could improve your future. Find a good book. Find a trustworthy teacher. Find a useful course. Then study. Do it when nobody is watching. Do it when nobody applauds. Do it because you understand something important. The work you do in private eventually becomes the ability people see in public. Your future may not be watching you today, but it is being shaped by what you do today. So keep learning, keep improving, keep adding value to yourself. Because when the opportunity finally arrives, you want to be ready. And preparation has a quiet advantage. It happens long before anyone notices the results. The discipline of becoming your own standard. Let me ask you a question. Who decides how good you are supposed to become? Is it your neighbor, your friend, Your competitor? The person on the internet who appears to have a perfect life? Or is it you? One of the great mistakes we make is measuring our lives entirely against other people. We look at someone else's success and decide we are behind. We look at someone else's money and decide we don't have enough. We look at someone else's achievements and decide we are not doing well. But comparison can become a terrible way to live, because there will always be somebody ahead of you, and there will always be somebody behind you. So instead of constantly asking, how do I compare with them? Ask a better question. How do I compare with the person I was yesterday? That question puts responsibility back where it belongs, on you. You need your own standards. Standards for how you work. Standards for how you speak. Standards for how you treat people. Standards for how you use your time. Standards for how you handle money. Standards for how you respond when things go wrong. Because if you don't establish your standards, the world will establish them for you. And the world's standard is often very low. If everyone around you is late, being on time may seem exceptional. If everyone around you wastes their evening, reading for an hour may seem unusual. If everyone around you complains, taking responsibility may seem strange. But don't lower your standard simply because your surroundings have lowered theirs. You are not required to become average, because average is common. Now, becoming your own standard does not mean becoming obsessed with perfection. You will make mistakes. You will have bad days. You will fall short. That is part of being human. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Set a standard. Miss it occasionally. Learn. Adjust. Return. That is discipline. And here's a useful exercise. Write down the person you want to become. Not the car you want. Not the house you want. Not just the money you want. The person. How does that person spend time? How does that person handle pressure? How does that person speak? What does that person refuse to tolerate? What does that person do when motivation disappears? Then ask yourself, what would that person do today? That question can change a decision in seconds. Maybe that person would get up. Maybe that person would study. Maybe that person would apologize. Maybe that person would save the money. Maybe that person would stop making excuses. You don't become that person someday. You become that person through today's choices. So stop waiting for other people to recognize your potential. Recognize it yourself. Stop asking whether you're better than everyone else. Ask whether you're becoming better than you were. Raise your standards, then live by them, quietly, consistently, especially when nobody is watching. Because your greatest competition is not another person. It is the version of you that is comfortable staying the same. And every day gives you another opportunity to defeat that version. Remember, don't build your life around being better than someone else. Build it around becoming better than you were. Set your standard. Keep your standard. Raise it when you're ready. And then let your life become the evidence of the person you decided to become.